The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched as far as the eye could see. Hundreds of alien beings sat in floating chairs that moved through the air like magic. The walls were made of some kind of crystal that glowed with soft blue light. Ambassador Taemin walked across the smooth floor toward the speaking platform. His black suit looked plain next to all the colorful alien clothing around him. Taemin was not a tall man, but he carried himself with confidence. Behind him walked Captain Hyejin in her dark blue military uniform. Her boots made small clicking sounds on the crystal floor. Admiral Jinwoo followed them both. He was older than the other two, with gray hair and lines around his eyes that came from years of worry. The three humans reached the center of the hall. All around them, alien eyes watched. Some aliens had 4 eyes, some had 6. Others had no eyes at all but seemed to see anyway. The air smelled strange, like flowers mixed with metal. A tall, thin creature stood up from one of the floating chairs. She looked like she was made of living glass. Her name was Counselor Zithara, and she spoke for the Valari people. When she talked, her voice came out of speakers placed around the hall. "Humans of Earth," she said, "we have called you here for an important matter. The Corvan Empire has been attacking our trade ships for 300 years. They destroy our cargo and kill our people. We need all member worlds to help us fight them." Taemin stepped forward. "Counselor Zithara, we thank you for including Earth in this discussion. But we must speak honestly. You do not want humans in your war." A sound like laughter came from somewhere in the hall. A large, round creature with purple skin floated down from the upper levels. This was Counselor Vorth of the Threxian Empire. His body was covered in what looked like small tentacles that moved when he talked. "Are you afraid, human?" Vorth asked. "Your people have only been in space for 50 years. We have been fighting wars for thousands of years. What could you possibly teach us about battle?" Captain Hyejin stepped beside Taemin. She was a small woman, but her voice was strong. "We are not afraid, Counselor. We are trying to warn you. Humans do not fight wars the same way you do." "Explain," said Zithara. Taemin looked around the hall at all the watching aliens. "When humans fight, we fight to win. We do not fight for honor or glory. We do not follow rules that make war into a game. We fight to end the fighting forever." Another alien spoke up. This one looked like a giant insect with silver wings. "You speak of total war. We gave up such barbaric methods long ago. Modern war is civilized. We fight until one side asks for peace talks. Then we negotiate. No one destroys entire civilizations anymore." Admiral Jinwoo had been quiet until now. He stepped forward and his old eyes looked sad. "That is exactly why you should not ask us to help. You see war as politics. We see war as survival." "Explain what you mean," Zithara demanded. Jinwoo was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "On Earth we had many wars. Humans fought each other for thousands of years. We learned that the only way to stop a war is to make sure the enemy cannot fight anymore. Not just their armies, everything, their factories, their supply lines, their will to fight." "That sounds like genocide," whispered someone in the crowd. "No," Taemin said firmly. "We do not kill civilians on purpose, but we destroy everything that helps the enemy make war. We are very good at it. Too good." Captain Hyejin pulled out a small device and pressed a button. Pictures appeared in the air above them. The pictures showed human weapons and ships. They looked different from alien technology. Where alien ships were smooth and beautiful, human ships looked rough and dangerous. "This is a human destroyer," Hyejin said, pointing to one picture. "It carries kinetic weapons, metal projectiles that move very fast. Your energy shields cannot stop them." "Primitive," Vorth laughed. "This is a human carrier," she continued, showing another picture. "It launches small fighters that can attack from many directions at once. And this is a human dreadnought. It carries enough firepower to destroy a small moon." The hall became very quiet. "But the real difference," Admiral Jinwoo said, "is not in our weapons. It is in our thinking. When you fight the Corvans, you attack their military bases. You follow the old rules of war. You give them time to surrender with honor." "Of course," Zithara said. "That is how civilized beings conduct warfare." Jinwoo shook his head. "If humans fought the Corvans, we would study them first. We would learn how their society works. Then we would attack their weakest points. We would cut off their food supply. We would destroy their communication networks. We would make it impossible for them to continue fighting. And if they attacked our civilians," Taemin added quietly, "we would destroy them completely." Every last ship, every last base, every last factory. We would make sure they could never threaten anyone again. The silence in the hall was complete now. Even the floating chairs had stopped moving. Counselor Zuthera's glass-like body flickered with different colors. "You are trying to frighten us." "No," Taman said. "We are trying to warn you. Earth has seen what humans can do when we are angry. We do not want the galaxy to see it." A new voice spoke from the crowd. It belonged to a creature that looked like a walking plant with many arms. "The Corvan Empire has been a threat for centuries. If humans can end this threat quickly, why should we refuse their help?" Admiral Jinwoo looked very tired suddenly. "Because once we start, we cannot stop until the enemy is finished. And because after you see what we do, you will never look at humans the same way again." "Are you refusing to help?" Zuthara asked. Taman sighed. "If the council orders us to help, we will help. But we want it written in the records that we tried to warn you. Captain Hyojin, please record this meeting." Hyojin pressed another button on her device. "Recording, sir." "Let the record show," Taman said in a formal voice, "that on this date the human delegation warned the Galactic Council about the nature of human warfare. We advised against including Earth forces in military operations against the Corvan Empire." The vote came quickly. Every alien species voted yes. Earth would send military help to fight the Corvans. As the three humans walked out of the hall, Admiral Jinwoo spoke quietly to Taemin. "Sir, should we contact Earth Command?" "Yes," Taemin replied. "Tell them to prepare the fleet, and tell them to prepare for what comes after." Captain Hyojin looked confused. "After what, sir?" Taemin stopped walking and looked back at the great hall full of aliens. "After they realize what they have asked us to do." The crystal walls glowed brighter as if the building itself was excited about the coming war. None of the aliens inside understood that they had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. The humans walked toward their ship in silence. Soon the galaxy would learn why Earth had tried so hard to stay out of other people's wars. 3 months had passed since the meeting at the Galactic Council. Colonel Dong Hyun stood on the bridge of the TNS Incheon, watching the stars through the main window. The ship moved through space like a gray metal shark. It did not look like the other ships in the Coalition fleet. The alien ships around them were beautiful. They had smooth curves and bright colors. Some looked like giant flowers floating in space. Others looked like jewels that caught starlight and made it sparkle. The human ship looked ugly next to them. It was just a block of gray metal with weapons sticking out of it. Lieutenant Commander So Young walked up to Colonel Dong Hyun. She carried a tablet computer in her hands. "Sir, I have the battle plans from the Coalition Command." Dong Hyun took the tablet and read it. His face did not change, but So Young could see his jaw muscles tighten. "They want us to follow traditional battle formations," he said. "Yes, sir. The alien fleets will form battle lines. Each side will take turns shooting at each other. When one side takes too much damage, they will ask for a timeout to talk about surrender terms." "And they expect us to do the same?" So Young nodded. "The Coalition Command says this is how all civilized species fight wars. They say it reduces casualties and allows for honorable surrender." Dong Hyun handed the tablet back to her. "What does Earth Command say about this?" "General Park sent new orders this morning, sir. We are to follow human military doctrine. No exceptions." Dong Hyun smiled for the first time in weeks. It was not a pleasant smile. "Good, signal the fleet. Tell them we are ready for combat operations." The Coalition fleet was huge. There were over 200 ships from 12 different alien species. Each species had their own way of fighting, but they all followed the same basic rules. They would meet the enemy in open space. They would form neat lines. They would shoot at each other until someone gave up. Captain Minho commanded a group of human destroyers. His ships were smaller than most of the alien vessels, but they were fast and hard to see on scanners. He had been studying the battle plans for days, and he did not like what he saw. "Commander Soo-jin," he called to his second-in-command. "Look at these coalition tactics." "What do you see?" Soo-jin was a young woman with short black hair and quick eyes. She studied the plans on her screen. "Sir, they fight like it is a dance. Everyone knows the steps. Everyone follows the same pattern." "Exactly. And what is the first rule of human warfare?" "Never fight fair, sir." "Correct. Signal the other destroyer groups. Tell them to prepare for independent action." The first battle came near a place called the Helix Nebula. It was a cloud of gas and dust that glowed with purple and blue light. The Corvin Empire had sent a patrol group to scout the area. 15 Corvin ships moved in a perfect formation. The coalition fleet formed their battle lines just like the plan said they should. The beautiful alien ships spread out in neat rows, their weapons charged up with bright energy. The Corvins did the same thing on the other side of empty space. This was how galactic warfare worked. Both sides would announce themselves. They would exchange formal challenges. Then they would fight according to rules that everyone understood. But the humans were not in the battle lines. Captain Min Ho had taken his destroyers into the nebula 3 hours earlier. His ships were hidden in the gas clouds where no one could see them. He watched the Corvin ships through his sensors and waited. "Sir," said his weapons officer, "the coalition is starting their attack run." "Let them," Min Ho replied. "We have more important work to do." The Corvin ships were strange-looking things. They had long necks like swans and bodies covered in silver armor. Their weapons were powerful, but they only shot forward. This was normal in galactic warfare. Ships faced each other head-on and traded shots until someone won. Min Ho had studied the Corvin ships for months. He knew exactly where their weak spots were. The engine sections in the back had no armor. The weapon systems could not turn around quickly. And the Corvin crews always kept their ships in formation, even when they were losing. "All destroyers," he said into his radio. "Attack Pattern Omega. Hit the engines first." The human ships came out of the nebula like ghosts. They moved fast and stayed low where the Corvin sensors could not track them well. Instead of using energy weapons like everyone else, they fired metal slugs that moved at incredible speed. The first Corvin ship died before its crew knew they were under attack. A kinetic round punched through its engine section and tore the ship apart from the inside. The second ship tried to turn around to face the humans, but 3 more rounds hit it in the reactor core. "What is happening?" The Corvin commander screamed into his radio. "Where are these attacks coming from?" His sensor officer was panicking. "Sir, the humans are not following battle protocol. They are attacking from behind and below. Their weapons are not showing up on our defense screens." By the time the Corvin commander understood what was happening, half his ships were dead or dying. The humans had not formed battle lines. They had not announced themselves. They had just attacked like wild animals. "All ships retreat," the Corvin commander ordered. "Fall back to rallying point 7. This was normal procedure. When a galactic fleet was losing, they would retreat to a safe area and ask for peace talks. The attacking fleet would usually let them go. It was considered good manners. The humans did not have good manners. Commander Su-Jin was waiting at rallying point 7 with her frigates. She had studied Corvin military history and knew exactly where they would try to go. When the surviving Corvin ships arrived, her ships were already there. "Unknown human vessels," the Corvin commander transmitted. "We are attempting to withdraw from combat. Please allow us to retreat with honor." Su-Jin's reply was short. "Negative. Surrender now or be destroyed." The Corvin commander had never heard such words in a space battle. "This is not how warfare is conducted. There are rules." "We did not make your rules," Su-Jin replied. "Fire." The last Corvin ships died in a storm of kinetic rounds. Not one escaped. When the battle was over, the coalition fleet gathered together. The alien commanders were shocked. They had been preparing for a long, formal battle. Instead, the fight had lasted only 20 minutes. Admiral Zenkar of the Valari fleet contacted Colonel Dong-hyun. His voice sounded confused and a little frightened. "Colonel, your tactics were unusual. How did you predict the Corvin retreat route?" Dong-hyun was standing over a holographic map of the battle. Red dots showed where the Corvin ships had died. "We studied their military history, Admiral. The Corvins always retreat to the same type of location. They have been using the same tactics for 300 years. But you attacked without warning. You did not give them a chance to surrender." "They had a chance to surrender," Dong-hyun said calmly. "They could have surrendered before the battle started." Admiral Zenkar was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "What happens now?" Dong-hyun looked at the tactical display. It showed the positions of Corvin fleets all across the galaxy. "Now we go to the next target, and the next one after that. We will keep fighting until there are no more Corvin ships left." "How long will that take?" "At this rate, about 6 months." The alien admiral's shock was clear in his voice.
6 months?
"This war has been going on for 3 centuries. "Yes," Dong-hyun said. "But you are not trying to win. You were just trying to fight with honor. Humans do not care about honor. We only care about winning. The communication ended and Dong-hyun turned to Lieutenant Commander So-young. Signal Earth Command. Tell them the first engagement was successful. And tell them to send more ships. How many more ships, sir? Dong-hyun looked at the star map again. The Corvin Empire controlled over 40 star systems. Their fleets were spread across hundreds of light years. It would take a lot of ships to hunt them all down. All of them, he said quietly. Send all of them. So-young understood. This was not going to be a normal war with rules and honor and ceasefires. This was going to be something the galaxy had never seen before. Outside the ship's windows, the stars looked the same as always. But everything had changed. The humans had entered the war, and nothing would ever be the same again. The news came on a Tuesday morning, while Admiral Jinwoo was drinking coffee in his office aboard the command ship. Lieutenant So-young knocked on his door and he could see from her face that something terrible had happened. Sir, she said quietly, we have received a priority message from New Busan Colony. Jinwoo set down his coffee cup. New Busan was a peaceful farming world where 50,000 humans lived. They grew food and raised families and had never hurt anyone. What kind of message? It is from Commander Young-soo, sir. His ground team was sent to investigate when the colony stopped responding to communications. Jinwoo felt his stomach drop. Show me. So-young activated the wall screen and Commander Young-soo's face appeared. He was a tough man who had seen many battles, but now his eyes looked hollow and empty. Behind him, smoke rose from burning buildings. Admiral Jinwoo, Young-soo said in a flat voice. This is Ground Team 7 reporting from New Busan Colony. The colony is gone, sir. All of it. The camera moved and Jinwoo could see the devastation. Houses had been turned to ash. The school where children learned to read was now just a pile of broken concrete. The hospital where babies were born was a crater in the ground. Corvin raiders hit the colony 6 hours ago. Young-soo continued. They used plasma bombs on civilian areas. The farms, the homes, the marketplace. They killed everyone they could find. Men, women, children. Even the animals. Jinwoo's hands were shaking, but his voice stayed calm. Casualties? 47,000 dead, sir. 3,000 missing, probably taken as slaves. We found maybe 200 survivors hiding in the old mine tunnels. The screen showed more images. A playground where children used to laugh and play. Now it was just twisted metal and burnt earth. A small teddy bear lay in the dirt, one arm missing. Commander, Jinwoo said slowly. Return to your ship immediately. Yes, sir. What are our orders? Jinwoo was quiet for 30 seconds. His coffee had gone cold, but he did not notice. We are implementing Protocol 7. Young-soo's eyes widened. Every human soldier knew about Protocol 7, but none of them had ever thought it would be used. Sir, are you certain? I am certain. Come home, Commander. We have work to do. The screen went dark. Admiral Jinwoo sat in his chair and stared at the wall. Lieutenant So-young had never seen him look so old and tired. Sir, she said carefully, should I contact the Galactic Council? They should know that the Corvins have attacked civilians. No, Jinwoo said. They will just tell us that civilian casualties are normal in galactic warfare. They will say the Corvins were trying to force us to negotiate. What do we do then? Jinwoo stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the Coalition fleet. Beautiful alien ships floated in perfect formations. They had no idea what was about to happen. We show them the difference between their kind of war and our kind of war. An hour later, every human ship in the fleet received the same message. Protocol 7 is now active. All human forces are to report to Admiral Jinwoo for new orders. Tell no one. Captain Hae-jin was the first to arrive at the command ship. She found Jinwoo in the war room, standing over a holographic map of the galaxy. Red dots showed Corvin territory. Blue dots showed Coalition forces. Admiral, she said, I came as soon as I received your message. Is it true about New Busan? It is true, and it changes everything. More human officers arrived. Colonel Dong-hyun came from his destroyer group. Commander Soo-jin left her frigate squadron.
Captain Minho brought his tactical team.
Soon 20 of humanity's best military minds were gathered in one room. The Corvins have crossed a line, Jinwoo began. They have killed our civilians, our children. This is no longer the Coalition's war. This is now a human war. Captain Minho studied the tactical display. Sir, we only have 50 ships in the Coalition fleet. The Corvins have over 300 scattered across 40 star systems. 50 ships is what we sent to make the aliens happy, Jinwoo replied. But Earth has been building more ships since the day we joined the Galactic Council. How many ships do we actually have, Captain Hyojin? Hyojin consulted her datapad. Total human fleet strength is currently 837 vessels, sir. That includes 112 heavy cruisers, 215 destroyers, 300 frigates, and our 10 dreadnoughts. The room went quiet. Even the human officers were surprised by those numbers. 800 ships? Colonel Dong-hyun asked. Where have we been hiding 800 ships? In the outer systems, Jinwoo explained. Earth Command has been very careful. We told the aliens we had 50 ships for this war. We did not tell them about the rest. Commander Soo-jin was looking at star charts on her tablet. Sir, with that many ships we could hit every Corvin system at the same time. That is exactly what we are going to do. The Corvins think they are fighting a coalition war with rules and honor. They are about to learn what a human war looks like. Captain Hyojin pulled up intelligence reports on her screen. Admiral, the Corvin High Command is located on a fortress world called Keth Prime. It has been their military headquarters for 200 years. The defenses are incredible. Energy shields, plasma cannons, fighter bases. Coalition analysts say it would take years to capture. How long would it take us? Jinwoo asked. Hyojin ran some calculations on her computer. Using human tactics? 3 days, sir. Maybe less. Schedule it. Keth Prime falls in 72 hours. Lieutenant So-young had been quiet during the meeting, but now she spoke up. Sir, what about the Galactic Council? They will not understand what we are doing. Jinwoo's face was like stone. The Council asked us to help them fight the Corvins. We tried to warn them what that meant. They did not listen. Now they will see. The meeting broke up and the human officers returned to their ships. Within hours, coded messages were flying through space to every corner of human territory. The secret fleet began to move. Admiral Zenkar of the Valari noticed something strange first. Human ships were leaving the coalition fleet. Not all of them, but many. When he asked Captain Hyojin about it, her answer was simple. We are bringing in reinforcements. How many reinforcements? Enough. 3 days later, Zenkar understood what enough meant. 800 human ships appeared throughout the galaxy at the same time. They did not form battle lines or send formal challenges. They just started shooting. The Corvin Empire had spent 3 centuries building their military. They had fortified worlds and hidden bases and secret weapon factories. They thought they were safe behind their defenses. They were wrong. Human ships hit every Corvin system simultaneously. Instead of attacking military bases, they went after infrastructure. Power plants went dark. Communication towers fell silent. Supply convoys disappeared in the dark between stars. On Keth Prime, the fortress world that had never been defeated, Corvin defenders watched in horror as human ships ignored their mighty weapons and attacked the planet's industrial centers instead. General Vax Thor, the supreme commander of Corvin forces, tried to contact his other bases. The communication networks were dead. He tried to call for reinforcements. The ships were not there. He tried to access his supply depots. They had been destroyed. How is this possible? He asked his staff officers. We have the strongest defenses in the galaxy. His intelligence chief looked terrified. Sir, the humans are not attacking our defenses. They are attacking everything else. They have cut off our power, our communications, our supplies. Without those things, our weapons are useless. Outside the fortress, human ships moved like sharks in dark water. They did not waste time fighting the big guns. They just made sure the big guns had nothing to shoot with. Admiral Jinwoo watched the battle reports come in from across the galaxy. Every human attack was going exactly as planned. The Corvins were collapsing faster than anyone had thought possible. Sir, Lieutenant So-young reported, we are receiving surrender requests from 17 Corvin systems. They want to negotiate terms. Tell them to surrender unconditionally or be destroyed, Jinwoo replied. We do not negotiate with people who kill our children. Captain Hyojin looked worried. Admiral, the Galactic Council is demanding to speak with you. They say we are going too far. Jinwoo did not look up from his tactical display. Tell the Council that they asked us to fight the Corvins. We are fighting the Corvins. If they do not like how we fight, they should not have asked us to do it. The war that had lasted 300 years was ending in 3 days, and the galaxy was learning what happened when someone made humans angry. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in the organization's 1,000-year history. Counselor Zythara's crystalline body flashed with angry red colors as she spoke into the communication device. Ambassador Taemin, your species has gone completely insane. You are destroying entire star systems. Taemin sat calmly in his chair aboard the human command ship. Behind him, Admiral Jinwoo worked at tactical displays that showed the collapse of the Corvan Empire in real time. Counselor, we are doing exactly what you asked us to do. We are fighting the Corvans. This is not fighting. This is wholesale destruction. You have attacked 42 Corvan systems in 3 days. Their entire civilization is falling apart. Yes, Taemin said simply. That was the point. Counselor Vorth of the Threxian Empire joined the conversation. His purple skin had turned almost black with shock. Ambassador, there are rules of warfare. You cannot just destroy everything. You must give them a chance to surrender with dignity. They had many chances to surrender, Admiral Jinwoo said, stepping into view of the camera. They chose to kill our civilians instead. Now they face the consequences. On the main screen, reports continued to flow in from across the galaxy. Captain Minho's destroyer groups had eliminated the Corvan Third Fleet near the Tau Nebula. The attack had taken 18 minutes. Commander Sujin's frigates had captured 3 Corvan supply bases without firing a shot. The bases had surrendered when they realized they were surrounded. But the most shocking news came from Colonel Dong Hyun at Keth Prime. The fortress world that had protected Corvan High Command for 2 centuries was about to fall, Admiral, Dong Hyun reported over the radio. The fortress is offering to surrender. They say they have no power, no communications, and no supplies. Their weapons are offline. How long did that take? Jinwoo asked. 68 hours, sir. Faster than we predicted. Counselor Zythara made a sound like breaking glass. 68 hours? Keth Prime has never fallen. It took the Zephyrian Empire 5 years just to get close to the outer defenses. The Zephyrians tried to break through the defenses, Captain Hyojin explained. We went around them. Why fight strong points when you can attack weak points instead? The communication channel filled with angry voices as dozens of alien species tried to talk at once. They were all saying the same thing: the humans had gone too far. Silence, Taemin said, and his voice cut through the noise like a knife. You asked Earth to join your war. We warned you what that would mean. You ignored our warning. Now you complain that we fight differently than you do. But you are destroying their entire society, protested a delegate from the Crystalline Confederation. When we fight wars, we leave room for the enemy to rebuild. We show mercy. Admiral Jinwoo's laugh was cold and hard. Mercy? Did the Corvans show mercy to the children of New Busan? Did they show mercy when they turned a hospital into a crater? The aliens had no answer for that. Lieutenant So Young approached Jinwoo with a new report. Sir, we have confirmation that Corvan High Admiral Thexelar wants to speak with us directly. He is requesting a meeting. Where? Keth Prime, sir. He says he will come to us. This caused another explosion of alien voices. In galactic warfare, enemy commanders met on neutral ground. They followed ancient protocols of respect and honor. The idea of a supreme commander coming to his enemy's ship was unthinkable. He is surrendering, Taemin said quietly. Not just his fleet, everything. An hour later, a small Corvan shuttle approached the human command ship. It carried High Admiral Thexler and 2 guards. The shuttle looked pitiful next to the massive human vessel. Its hull was scratched and dented from the fighting. Thexlar was a tall alien with 4 arms and silver skin. He had commanded Corvan forces for 30 years and had never lost a major battle. Now he walked through the corridors of a human ship like a broken old man. Colonel Dong Hyun met him in the conference room. On the table was a simple document written in both human and Corvan languages. It was not like the complex treaties that usually ended galactic wars. It was short and direct. Total surrender, Dong Hyun said. All Corvan military forces will lay down their weapons immediately. All Corvan territories will be placed under human administration until further notice. All Corvan leaders will report to human authorities for questioning. Thexelar stared at the document with his 4 eyes. This is not how wars end. Where are the negotiations? Where are the conditions for honorable surrender? There are no negotiations, Dong Hyun replied. You attacked our civilians. You killed our children. Honor died with them. But my people, what will happen to them? That depends on them. Corvan civilians will not be harmed if they cooperate. Former military personnel will be questioned and possibly put on trial. War criminals will be punished. Thexelar's hands shook as he picked up the signing device. Your species fights like nothing we have ever encountered. You show no mercy, no honor, no respect for the traditions of war. We show no mercy to those who attack defenseless people, Dong Hyun said. Honor and tradition are luxuries for those who have not lost everything. The Corvin Admiral signed the surrender document. With that signature, a war that had lasted 3 centuries came to an end. Back on the Galactic Council communication channel, the alien delegates watched in stunned silence as news of the surrender spread across the galaxy. Every Corvin system had fallen or surrendered. The mighty Corvin Empire, which had threatened galactic peace for hundreds of years, no longer existed. How? Counselor Zithara whispered. How did you do this so quickly? Captain Hyojin brought up tactical displays that showed the human battle plan. We studied every aspect of Corvin society. Their military, their economy, their politics, their psychology. We identified their critical weaknesses and attacked all of them at the same time. But surely they could have fought back. They had hundreds of ships. They had hundreds of ships with no fuel, no spare parts, and no coordination, Admiral Jinwoo explained. We destroyed their supply network first. Without supplies, their ships were just expensive metal floating in space. Commander Sujin added, we also attacked their communication systems. A fleet that cannot talk to each other cannot fight as a team. Each Corvin ship had to face us alone. And their morale collapsed when they realized what was happening. Captain Minho continued. Corvin soldiers are brave when they think they can win, but when they see their entire civilization falling apart around them, they lose the will to fight. Counselor Vorth's voice was very small. What happens now? Now the galaxy has peace, Taemin said. The Corvin threat is ended forever. Trade routes are safe. No more raids, no more attacks, no more fear. At what cost? Admiral Jinwoo looked directly into the camera. The cost was 6 months of human effort instead of 3 more centuries of galactic warfare. The cost was decisive action instead of endless negotiations. The cost was accepting that some enemies cannot be reasoned with, only defeated. The communication channel went quiet for a long time. Finally, Counselor Zithara spoke again. Ambassador Taemin, the Council needs to discuss new security arrangements for the galaxy. I imagine they do, Taemin replied. And I imagine those discussions will reach certain conclusions. What kind of conclusions? Taemin smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. That the Galactic Council now understands why we tried so hard to warn you. That you realize human warfare is not like your warfare, and that you never ever want to see what a war between human factions would look like. The screen went dark, leaving the aliens alone with their thoughts and their fears. In the human fleet, Admiral Jinwoo looked at the tactical display one last time. Every red dot was gone. The Corvin Empire had been erased from the galaxy in less than a week. Sir, Lieutenant So Young asked, what are our orders now? Jinwoo was quiet for a moment. Then he said, now we go home, and we hope the galaxy has learned its lesson. But deep down he knew they had not. The aliens still did not understand what they had seen. They thought it was just superior technology or better tactics. They had no idea that this was what humans looked like when they were being gentle. 6 months after the end of the Corvin War, the Galactic Council chamber looked the same as always. The crystal walls still glowed with soft blue light. The floating chairs still moved through the air like magic, but everything felt different. Ambassador Taemin walked across the smooth floor toward his usual seat. Behind him came Captain Heejin and Admiral Jinwoo. The 3 humans moved with quiet confidence, but the aliens around them seemed nervous. Conversations stopped when the humans passed by. Eyes followed their every movement. Counselor Zithara called the meeting to order. Her crystalline body flickered with uncertain colors. The council recognizes Ambassador Taemin of the Terran Federation. Taemin stood up and looked around the Great Hall. 6 months ago, these same aliens had demanded that Earth help fight their war. Now they looked at him like he was a dangerous predator that might attack at any moment. Thank you, Counselor. Earth is here to discuss the new security arrangements that the Council requested. Yes, Zithara said carefully. The Council has been reviewing the effectiveness of human military operations. We believe that certain changes to galactic defense policy may be necessary. Counselor Vorth floated down from the upper levels. His purple skin was darker than usual, which meant he was worried. Ambassador, the Council wishes to propose a new role for human forces in maintaining galactic peace. We are listening. Vorth's tentacles moved nervously as he spoke. The Council proposes that Earth become the primary peacekeeping force for the galaxy. Human fleets would patrol trade routes and respond to any threats to galactic stability. Taemin did not look surprised. And what would happen to the existing military forces of other species? They would focus on local defense and support operations, Saithara explained. The idea is that human forces would handle any major conflicts that might arise. Admiral Jinwoo stepped forward. What the Council is really saying is that they are afraid of us. They want to make sure we are on their side instead of against them. The silence that followed was so complete that you could hear the soft humming of the station's life support systems. Finally, a delegate from the Zephyrian Empire spoke up. It was an insect-like creature with silver wings that clicked when it moved. Admiral, you must understand our position. Your species ended a 300-year war in 6 days. You destroyed an entire galactic empire without breaking a sweat. We have never seen anything like it. And it terrifies you, Captain Heejin said. It was not a question. Yes, the Zephyrian admitted. It terrifies us. Your weapons, your tactics, your complete disregard for the traditional rules of warfare. If you decided to conquer the galaxy, who could stop you? Taemin sat back down in his chair. Let me ask you a question, Counselor. Why do you think Earth has not conquered the galaxy? Sithara's color shifted to confused blues and greens. We assumed it was because you preferred peaceful solutions. No, Admiral Jinwoo said. It is because we already have everything we want. Earth has colonies, trade partners, and security. Why would we want to rule over thousands of alien worlds that we do not understand? But you could, Vorth whispered. If you wanted to, you could. Yes, Taemin agreed. We could. That is exactly why you should accept our peacekeeping proposal. Lieutenant Commander So Young had been standing quietly behind the other humans. Now she stepped forward with a data tablet in her hands. If I may, counselors, I have prepared some projections that might help you understand our position. She activated the holographic display in the center of the chamber. Images appeared showing star maps and fleet movements. This is a simulation of what would happen if two human factions fought a war against each other, So Young explained. The conflict would involve over 2,000 warships, kinetic bombardment of industrial centers, and complete disruption of trade across half the galaxy. The aliens stared at the simulation in horror. It showed entire star systems going dark as human fleets hunted each other through space. Supply lines collapsed. Trade routes became graveyards of destroyed ships. How long would such a war last? Asked a delegate from the Metallic Collective. Conservative estimate? 18 months, So Young replied, and that assumes both sides showed restraint to avoid damaging civilian populations. And if they did not show restraint? So Young's face was grim. 6 months, maybe less. The simulation continued to play, showing the aftermath of the theoretical human war. Refugee fleets fleeing from battle zones, trading empires collapsing as commerce became impossible. Entire civilizations reduced to hiding in the dark between stars. This is what you are trying to prevent, Admiral Jinwoo said. Not human conquest. Human civil war. Counselor Zaithara's voice was very small. How many humans would die in such a conflict? Hundreds of millions, Taemin answered honestly. But that is not what worries us. What worries us is that billions of aliens would die as well, just from being caught in the middle. The chamber fell silent again. The aliens were beginning to understand what they were really dealing with. Humans were not just another species with advanced weapons. They were something completely different. The peacekeeping arrangement serves everyone's interests, Captain Heejin explained. Earth maintains galactic stability. Other species focus on development and trade. Everyone benefits from peace and prosperity. And if we refuse this arrangement? Asked the Zephyrian delegate. Taemin shrugged. Then you refuse it. Earth will not force anything on the Council, but you should understand the alternatives. So Young changed the holographic display to show current human fleet deployments. There were ships everywhere. Patrol groups in every major trade route. Battle fleets stationed near important systems. Bases hidden in asteroid fields and nebulae. How many ships do you actually have? Counselor Vorth asked. More than we need, Admiral Jinwoo replied, and fewer than we could build if we had to. The vote came an hour later. Every species voted to accept the human peacekeeping proposal. There were no arguments, no debates, no last-minute negotiations. The aliens had seen enough. After the meeting, Taemin walked through the station's corridors with his two companions. They passed shops and restaurants where alien civilians went about their daily lives. Children played in the recreational areas. Traders discussed business deals over exotic meals. "Sir," Captain Hyojin said quietly, "do you think they will ever trust us?" "No," Taemin replied. "And that is probably for the best. Trust can be dangerous. Respect is safer." Admiral Jinwoo nodded.
Fear keeps the peace better than friendship does.
As long as they are afraid of what we might do, they will not do anything that requires us to do it. They reached the docking bay where their ship was waiting. As they walked up the boarding ramp, Taemin looked back at the station one last time. "Do you ever regret it?" Hyojin asked. "What we did to the Corvins?" Taemin thought about New Busan Colony. He thought about the children who died there. He thought about the teddy bear lying in the dirt with one arm missing. "No," he said, "I regret that it was necessary, but I do not regret doing it." Their ship undocked from the station and began its journey back to Earth. Behind them, the Galactic Council continued their meeting. They were discussing trade agreements and resource allocations and all the normal business of galactic civilization, but now they did it under the protection of human ships. Ships that moved through the darkness between stars like silent guardians. Ships that carried weapons capable of ending civilizations. Ships crewed by humans who had learned long ago that the only way to keep peace was to be prepared for war. 10 years later, the galaxy was more peaceful than it had ever been. Pirates had disappeared from the trade routes. Border disputes were settled by negotiation instead of force. No species dared to attack another for fear of attracting human attention. And in the deepest archives of the Galactic Council, filed under Critical Intelligence, Never to be Removed, was a simple document. It was written in a dozen different languages, but the message was the same in all of them. Warning: do not involve humans in your wars unless you are prepared for them to end permanently. The document was never officially discussed. It did not need to be. Every species in the galaxy understood what it meant. The humans had taught them all a lesson that would never be forgotten. Some species were meant to explore the stars and build civilizations and create art and music. Some species were meant to trade and negotiate and find peaceful solutions to problems, and some species were meant to make sure that all the others could do those things in safety. The galaxy had learned which kind of species humans were, and it had learned to be grateful that humans preferred peace to war. Because when humans did fight wars, they did not fight to win battles. They fought to make sure the battles never had to be fought again. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, knowing that somewhere among them, human ships moved through the darkness, keeping watch over a galaxy that had finally found peace.